Whoa. Well, back in the day, there was this movie called How Harry Met Sally. So Harry Met Sally, it came out and it taught us. It was the first rom-com. I think it's the only rom-com I can really think of. And it may not even be a rom-com, and I just called it that shit for no reason. So today's episode here, it's a review of Stacey and Jr.
Gosh.
Now this is
gonna be tough. We getting into the whole nitty gritty, or
yeah, not the whole nitty gritty, but we'll tell a good story here. So, me personally, I can't tell you a true origin story on how we really met. I can give you this fictitious story that I've made up in my head over time.
Okay.
So somewhere around, I want to say 2015. Is that right?
So let me start out by saying in 2015. I was promoted to a store manager of the good old 7-Eleven.
In St. Albans, West Virginia.
Yes. The one on West Main on Meth Mountain, on the side of Meth Mountain.
I actually lived up High Street at that time.
Right. Which was right off the hill.
And they was cooking up that good.
Apparently. So I was warned about this. This is where I met Alyssa. It was rough. I didn't like her. She didn't like me. That's a whole different story there. But we turned out best friends. So it kind of goes in because her part, kind of goes in with yours, along with the whole part of Erica. We'll talk about those two a little bit later on. So, I was supposed to go down to Rock Lake.
Whoa.
And be an assistant manager.
I would have still caught you there too.
Right, eventually. But because I went to him, I said, I want out of here. I'm moving to Charleston. What can we do? So they were just going to put me in as an assistant manager at the Rock Lake store. And we decided to somehow make me a store manager at the 7-Eleven on West Main.
Okay. And this store was filled with all kinds of characters. Now, mind you, this store is at the end of St. Albans, as I like to call it. And I lived up the road on High Street. It was a method place. Some of them apartment complexes up there, they cooked up that fine Heisenberg, or whatever you want to call it, Walter White. And those are all references to Breaking Bad, if you don't know what those are, people. So at one time, and this is weird, I go through phases. Like now today, you would never know that I don't touch cappuccino or anything like that, which is weird. I used to drink this French vanilla cappuccino.
Right.
And
you would come in every morning.
Yeah, and I had a routine because I had to get woke the fuck up.
Right, because it was a couple times you coming in and saying, hey, where's the French vanilla?
Yeah.
Cappuccino. And I always have to make up some story, because I didn't want it to be our fault. Which most of the time it wasn't. Usually it was a supply chain issue. They either didn't send it or whoever was doing the ordering at that time just didn't look. It was before I took total control and knew what was going on and got my feet settled.
Okay. Now, see, this stuff goes into a machine. It was some old dusty ass shit. And if you didn't turn the knob the right way, the dust wouldn't fall down and mix with the water. And when I say dust, I'm talking about the ingredients.
The powder.
Yeah, still dust. And I came in a few times here and there, whatever. And one time in particular, backstory real quick. At this time, me and my baby's mama had split up. But let me tell you some fucked up West Virginia shit.
Y'all was still living together.
We were still living together. And she was living her best life, and I was living my best life.
Right.
Well,
when you're used to having two incomes and you separate, it's hard to just have two sets of bills. So it made sense in the situation that you guys were in. You had a baby together. I mean, he was what? Already, he was old by then.
Yeah, he was old. He was classic then.
No, he wasn't that old, but I don't know. He's probably about, how old is he now?
He is almost 15, 14 now.
So he's probably about 9, 10.
Yeah, well, 7 years, 8 or 9, yeah.
Yeah.
He was old enough to know what was going on.
Right.
So we made an agreement we were going to work the finances, bridge them over for 6 months. And we worked through, and then when we got to the latter part, it was time for her to get the fuck up out of there. Or either I get the fuck up out of there, and then the latter happened, she got the fuck up out of there because she moved on in life and did whatever. And that's another story for another day, and that will be on West Virginia Complex. But anyway, so I get these phones. I was a phone collector. I had Blackberries. I had
Right. And I remember, because who was it? Alyssa would work morning shifts, and I don't remember at this time or not if I had hired in Erica, because Alyssa would get you in the mornings and Erica would get you in the evenings, because most days you'd come in twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you would come in the evenings, whoever was working the evening shift would be like, hey, the guy that gets the French vanilla cappuccinos was in, and he wants to know if it's going to be there tomorrow. And so we kind of got into that routine, and we hadn't necessarily met face to face yet.
Right.
Like, it was always, you knew that there was a new manager in there, and I knew there was a guy that came in and got French vanilla cappuccino every morning.
Yes. Now, a side note that's funny to this is that the gas station lost their gas pumps
Prior to me getting there.
Yeah, and that was a big deal. Everybody talked about it, and it was
Right.
something that went on for a long ass time. But it was
Yeah.
just a funny side story because anytime I go in, I'd be like, "Oh, any gas in the gas pumps?" and you know, this thing had been seeming it completely over.
Yeah.
And the parking lot parking lot was kept very clean. Well, it was one thing that got me because it was Dean came in and cleaned up some stuff for y'all one time. He picked up cigarette butts outside.
Right. And because it was awful when I got there. I'm not saying that I fixed it, but I feel like I made it a little bit more presentable. There was this little nook behind the store that homeless people or drug addicts or somebody hiding from their baby mama could go back in behind that store and camp out, because there was just a little hideaway cubby. And one of the other guys that worked there, I think he told me he had went back there once or twice, and there was mattresses back there.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember his name, and I never pieced that name together every time you say it, but I do remember him coming by, and I think at first I was like, hey, you can't be picking that stuff up. You know, don't be picking it up and putting it in your pocket, because that's disgusting. And once he explained to me, he goes, oh no, I'm not doing that. He goes, I'm just picking stuff up to throw it away. So that got a little bit better.
And the crazy thing is, Dean was my cleaner for like over JB Hunt. Interesting story is, my car broke down and he brought me home. And we stopped by there because I always buy everybody a drink. That's my way of meeting you. So Dean came into your store, and I don't know what kind of agreement y'all worked out, but I swear they gave him a big gulp for cleaning the whole parking lot.
Right.
And Dude was,
I can say it now because I don't work there. Yeah. If any time that he would come by, and if he cleaned or picked up trash or anything like that, I didn't care if anybody gave him a beverage like that.
Yeah. So
that's less I had to take away from inside the store to have help.
So shout out to Dean. He still lives up there. One day we'll have to go visit him just for argument's sake. Up there by Walmart and Hurricane, apartments across the street. Crazy. But that's a small world for that. So I had these phones, and I am a avid person, and this is crazy because today it will sound mortified. I was a Microsoft Windows guy.
Right. And why this is relevant is because 7-Eleven had an app.
Yes.
And it didn't have the cards at first. It was an app. So they were always persistent, like, hey, you got to get your app scans in, you got to get this and that and blah, blah, blah. And they were pushing, like, anytime that anybody would come in, my thing was, do you have our app? You can get free drinks, this, that. I had a whole big old thing. And I would tell JR this every time that I would bring him out. And this was before we had any type of other conversation. So anytime he would come into the store, it's like, do you have your app yet? No. And then finally,
I had my app. Now, I'll tell you a quick story. At that time, I went from Intellis went under and became Sprint. That's the first time that I didn't do business with Sprint. So I cut off my iPhone, and I was in a predicament. Yeah, Intellis got bought by Sprint.
Are you sure they didn't get bought by Verizon?
100%. I know my cell phone stories.
Yeah, I thought Intellis got bought by
you can do your story on that. So Intellis got bought, so I got rid of my iPhone 6, 6S Plus, whatever the fuck it was. And I had this Galaxy Note Edge. But I was funny because where I worked, I needed a phone that was durable. Well, them Windows phones, the Lumia 640, I'll never forget, it was a cheap phone. Hell, I bought 6 of them from Walgreens or Rite Aid for $10 a piece. But those phones were high-tech, doing more stuff than my phone does today. So I had the 7-Eleven app on there because back then, app makers were pretty good about putting stuff on every platform. Well, something was wrong with the login for the 7-Eleven app on the Windows Phone, whatever.
They weren't built for Windows, wasn't it?
It had an app, but
the Windows wouldn't work with the 7-Eleven app.
Something, yeah.
It would only work on Android and Apple.
Right, but they did have a 7-Eleven app.
They did have the app, but it didn't work.
Right, and we figured that out, and somehow you would try to log in with your cell phone number, and you left it in my phone.
No, what had happened was, you couldn't get it to work on your phone, so I logged out of the app on my phone, created your account that way, took a screenshot of your barcode, and texted the picture to you.
Oh.
Yeah, and I told you, it's like, because I remember saying, now if you don't bring your phone with you, I have it on mine, so anytime that I'm here, you make sure we scan your app, because I didn't know what people called you. You were the guy that bought the French vanilla cappuccinos. And when we created your account, it said Wilbert. So that's what I always called you. I didn't call you JR.
Right.
Or JR, like you like to tell me sometimes.
Some people do call me JR.
Right. So I had your thing saved in my phone as Wilbert.
And that's crazy.
So
that's how Harry Met Sally story to a degree.
Kinda,
so
yeah.
it goes even further.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't think nothing of it. I was living my life. I think I had a girlfriend at the time. What's her name? Whoever it was, doesn't matter. And me and her broke up at some point. And you were still working at... No, you weren't there.
Nope.
By the time me and her broke up, you were working over at the other store.
Right. But then because you still got more to that. The day that you came in to the store, one day, one of the last times I ever saw you, was when you brought the other guy with you.
Oh, my partner. Oh, I tried to hook you up with my homie.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, my homie from JV Hunt. And I can't even think of his name. I talk about him all the time.
Was it Mike or Ben?
No. It wasn't Ben. Mike was from Cincinnati.
Okay.
What's the other guy's name?
Barry?
No, not Barry. That's my best friend from Lynchburg. And it wasn't Jeff. And it wasn't Rob. Jay, yeah. Because I was JR and Jay. And Jay, he tried to holler at you.
You were trying so hard for him.
And you just wouldn't.
Right.
And that's a crazy story because he went on to live his life however. So I think it speeds up a little bit and it comes to Christmas time, right?
I don't remember. Like, I had my first Christmas at the one store, I think.
Right. But I messaged you.
Yeah. But anyways, you tried to get him to shoot a shot or whatever it was.
And he failed.
And I wasn't in the headspace. And I'm just like, well, I'm thinking, well, maybe if it was you, this conversation would be going a little bit differently. But, because, you were the cute guy that came in every morning to get the French vanilla cappuccino.
Right.
And then I left.
And then you left. And then after that, we'll have to go to my side of the story here because I'm the one that initiated everything. So I had a good friend that passed away, and she and I were she was like my... You know how everybody's got a therapist in life? She was my therapist. And I was like, these are the ladies I like. And I'm being honest about that. I said, these are the ladies I like. I said, this is the lady that is a question mark. And you were the question mark. And I was like,
because we had no interaction, basically, except for you coming into the store.
Right. So I told her, I said, I went back in the store. And Alyssa had said something to me to the extent that you were looking for me around Halloween or something.
Because you invited us to go somewhere. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Because you were doing the, they did like the pub crawls or something like that. Like the little bars that were around Charleston. And you mentioned that you were going. And I can't remember if you asked if I wanted to go or if we wanted to go. Or if you said, hey, I'm going to be there, so let me know if you show up or something like that. And I tried so hard to convince Alyssa to go.
Right. So Alyssa in turn told me a story that you were looking for me or something.
Yeah.
And that stayed in the back of my head. And mind you, we're going to the hit of, we're single at this time, so we can speak freely about
Right.
this. So at that time, I have an ego.
Right.
And you know, you didn't know about my wrestling, but I had an Undertaker streak. I had a girlfriend every summer for so long.
Right.
And I went through my first summer where I didn't have one. So I was a bitter individual. And I will admit this to everybody. My heart was hurting. I was like, ooh, yeah. I was sad because my streak was broken. And let's be factual here real quick. And I hate to do this. I got my heart broken by someone that was subpar.
Right, but I think that for the whole Halloween thing, I think you guys had just started dating then. Because I was still over at St. Albans. And you didn't start dating her until, I think, right at the end. Right before I went to Dunbar.
I think it's a little different. I can go through my statistics later.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I'm pretty sure that you were talking to her. I don't know that you were necessarily dating, but I think you were talking to her at that point.
Right. Well, either way, she got aborted.
Right.
I said aborted. So anyway, you know, I'm over in Nitro at this restaurant sitting here with my friend, and I get on my phone. I'm like, these right here. It was 4 ladies at that time. You were one of them. 3 of them got disqualified in that conversation because it's certain things that I look for. I was looking for something that was different. I knew nothing about you. So my friend Alicia, God rest her soul, she's like, because back then we weren't saying shoot your shot.
Right.
She was like, you know how to do this. You are Jr fucking Sparrow. Yeah. And I'm like, what you mean? Because, you know, I always say what you mean.
Yeah.
And she was like, if you like Stacey, you know what to do. And I'm like, you know, I get a little quiet and I'm like, what the fuck is she saying to me? So I said, you got to be blunt with me. I said, I'm airhead right now. I'm dense like root beer. And she says, send her a message. So this is right around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a sly player for real back then because, you know, I got the moves. I seen your birthday was the day after Christmas. And, you know, I'm a cheapskate. So I'm like, you know, I can talk to her. And if I wish her a Merry Christmas and then a Happy Birthday.
You never told me Happy Birthday.
That's a dynamite.
You only told me Merry Christmas.
Right.
You skipped my birthday.
Right. I had to.
How rude.
So I said Merry Christmas. And I think from that point on, we never talked again.
We didn't. It was like it was a year, I think.
Yeah.
Because, see, that's where I'm thinking that because you weren't single for very long. And you didn't go that Christmas holiday single.
No.
And you were with this person.
So maybe I was wrong in shooting, throwing some. Oh snap! I was out there throwing woo out there when I wasn't supposed to.
Right, but I see. That's why I'm thinking that you talked to her before you started dating that one person, and then you found her and dated her for about a year.
Something like that.
Because I want to say that I don't think that you were in a relationship whenever you sent me that message.
No, I wasn't.
Right. But I know that you weren't technically single very long.
Right. But the whole year of 17, I was single. After it was the Christmas of 16, I wasn't single.
Right. Because I think it was in 16 when you sent me a message.
Right. And then
I don't know that you were even trying to do anything off of that or not. I think that you told me Merry Christmas. You had your relationship, and then you talked to Alicia, and she's pointed me out.
So like I said, some of that shit for me could be fictitious, but I just put it in my mind how I wanted it.
Right. I'm pretty sure that's how it happened, because I know that you weren't talking to anybody when you sent me that message, or at least that's what you said.
Right. I don't think I was with anybody. But anyway, so the person, my rebound person, they didn't last long. They were just a weekend person, so they disappeared.
Right.
I'm rolling through 2017 just however. And everybody's an adult. So let's just be adults about it. Everybody does whatever they do. So that was the first time I will say in my life that I was fully, freely single with no one on my phone.
Right.
So I lived my best life. I was out there in them streets. We all been out there in the streets. You've been in the streets too.
Oh, yeah.
So the summer comes. It is after, and this is how I can tell you I got a good memory. After Nitro or St. Albans little festival, you weren't around, but I sent you a text message from my iPhone.
Right.
And after that, I sent you the basketball game. I'll never forget that shit. I sent her the basketball game, y'all.
Right.
And we started playing. And it was simple. I missed that game. I don't know why I don't play anymore, but...
We had a falling out.
Yeah. So, you know, we go through life. And the one thing that is bad about me, and I will admit this to anyone, is I don't understand the fact of what I can do for a person that's not around me, but the attention. I always try to be naive to it, and at this age I understand certain attention gives you a certain perception.
Okay.
So we did the games. We were doing giggles and games.
Right. Yes. Like something happened. We started the conversation, and it wasn't like you sent me this random message and then sent me a game.
Right.
Like we talked a little bit in between there. I think you sent me a message or two. We talked back a little bit back and forth, and then you called me.
Yeah.
And then from there until Christmas, there wasn't a day that didn't go by that we weren't either playing the game, texting. We would spend 2.5, 3 hours on the phone every evening.
Yeah, every weekend. So it was that night.
Every day.
Every day, yeah.
Every day.
And mind you, everybody knows this about me, and I always say this is cool about me. My phone always stays on my hip. No matter what job I've had, you get access to whatever I'm doing, and I'll put you on the phone. I used to wear a Bluetooth piece, and I'll do whatever I got to do to talk.
So, one thing that I found funny, like I said, I always had you in there as Wilbert. So apparently at some point, you went into the St. Albans store. Alyssa and Erica were still there, and I had already moved to the Dunbar store by then. And you went in looking for me. One of these ladies lied to you.
Yeah.
Throw them under the bus right now. Who lied? Because I forget.
It was Alyssa.
Alyssa, you did me dirty, girl.
Alyssa lied like the country song.
I do like that song. It's very emotional. But in her defense, I think my ex was causing me some headaches.
Maybe.
And so I think that she was kind of looking out for my best interest, because by that time we became best friends.
Okay, and let me throw this in there. Mm-hmm. I come into a convenience store.
Yeah.
And the thing about me is that I'm not a hobo or nothing, but you may see me riding with somebody.
Right.
And if you may see me driving,
I never paid attention to what kind of vehicle you were in. I
was either driving on the bus or riding in somebody's car, because that's just how I roll.
Right. And that never bothered me or anything like that.
Right. So what I think happened is that quite a few times my neighbor, she worked next door to where I worked. So I would catch rides back and forth with her sometimes if the time met right. So like everybody, I buy everybody a soda. It's not a...
Right.
You know, so you see me buy somebody a soda, if they walk up to the counter, you might think he's boinking them, and not the case. And the other thing is that we both know I have female friends after you got to know me.
Right.
I don't like men. You know, so it just works.
Just like I don't like a lot of females.
Right, so it's vice versa, but we learned that stuff. Now, going forward, we go on this date in January.
Well, actually, something happened.
What happened?
I blew up on you.
Oh, yeah. She dropped a CM Punk pipe bomb on me. Oh, I said that on the air. Because I did this.
I didn't realize I did it, what I was doing.
Well, I'll tell you what I did. Because I'm a player for real back then. Mm-hmm. Not now, but...
You made me admit my true feelings.
Yeah, so I sat here and I ran this Snapchat game. And once again, we're not talking about Snapchat for podcasting. We're talking about Snapchat. I took Snapchat and I made these groups. And I made this one group, and I started doing little weird things. Like I'd take a picture of like a package or something. And I would do all this innuendo talking about this mysterious lady that was not there. There was no real person I was talking to. And you would relate it to my ex, maybe. You would relate it to whoever's on my list. But if you paid attention to that...
Well, because when you created that group, said ex was in that group.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't want nothing to do with somebody that was still hung up on their ex. Been there, done that, won't do it again.
Okay.
And I didn't want to hear all your ex stories, because a lot of times when you would talk to me, I think you had told me all the stories you were willing to tell me, and you wanted to talk about your past relationships. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to know about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to know that you and Rebound went to a wedding, your best friend's gay wedding. Like, I don't want to hear about that when we're trying to figure out what we're doing. That's stuff that you say for when we define our relationship and we're talking about things like that. And so the way that I said that caused issues for us in the future.
True.
And that was a failure on my part because of the way I guess I explained it, but also a failure on your part because of how you perceived it in your head. You thought that I was saying I didn't want to talk about anything in your past.
Right. And I think the problem was, well, here's the thing. I own up to what I did. The problem at that point was for me, I needed to heal.
Right.
And you weren't that caring person.
Right.
So, truth be told,
we've made it past that part, but yeah.
So to condense this down and make it quick,
Too late.
How much time we got on there?
We're at 26 minutes.
Or 26.
We're almost finished up our first round.
All right, so the first round, January
26.
26 to 20, from 2018 until, say, right around October 2018. That was our first run. And things happened there. And this is one thing that I'll be truthful about and admit. I met somebody in between that time. And that person fit a void for me. And I decided to further that. So our relationship ended. So because of the way that the world turns and twists things, we roll over from 2018 to 2019. From a bit of time at the end of 2018 until August of 2019, I was off living my life. You were living your best life, doing whatever. And because of circumstances, and because there was unfinished business, and all parties involved, we don't have to mention anything because one party's not here to defend themselves. So everything happened for whatever reason. Then we got that second time around, and that's Shalimar for y'all that don't know. Definitely check them out. Jody Watley, Howard Hewitt, and the other dude. So the second time around, first relationship, I will say my review on that shit was dumpster juice, because I got a perception, you had a perception, or you didn't have a perception, but once I got a perception, you cannot break me from what I think. My convictions are way too strong for me to change.
Right.
And I was fouled up in that one. I fucked that one up, the first one, because I was out here living a James Bond life, and I shouldn't have done that. Don't two-time, because when you two-time, you get triple time, and when you get triple time, the triple time is worse than what you were doing prior, because it affects one person, two people, three people. In that triple time, I will tell you, audience, you don't fix it. It doesn't work.
Plus all the other people involved. We know one particular person that still has a whole lot of hard feelings. I think you hurt his feelings a lot when all that happened.
I don't know sign language. But
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, tell me later. So anyway, we get to the second relationship.
Clyde. Who do I call Clyde?
Okay.
I think you hurt him.
Oh.
Because remember how it was really hard for him to warm back up?
Yeah.
The other one just bam, all in, all about JR.
Right. And that's a problem I have with people. People are all about me for some reason. They might talk shit, but they don't say that shit to me. That's one thing I will say. Don't nobody, and I'm not even tough. I'm probably the most sensitive dude on earth. I dance in the rain like I'm an R&B singer.
Right, but anyways, yeah. So January 2018 to October 2018 was our first round.
Yep.
I mean, technically, if you want to get technical, you checked out in July.
Yeah.
So we'll just call it what it is, January to July.
Yeah.
And then
a whole year later, we get another chance at it because the
July at 2019. Right.
So we became adults about this, and the greatest thing that happened was the pandemic.
Yep. Yep.
If it wasn't for COVID-19, I don't know if we'd be here today.
Right.
COVID-19 got me to look in your eyes, you look in my eyes, and we fell in love with life. Like, I'm telling you, audience, like, I don't, it wasn't fairy tale because we had ups and downs.
Right.
But the time we spent time, we still spend time together now like that. I think we're still stuck in that kind of rut. It ain't a rut.
Right, it's not a rut because I would rather do COVID again than to never have experienced it.
Right. And for me, like, it was special because we played video games. Like, before the first song and dance, we played a few games together, but we didn't touch on none.
Well, because it was hard. You know, and I just say it how it is. When you're living a double life, it's hard to form a life.
Right, because I was out there in
like a real, true life. I mean, you weren't the first 6 months of the relationship, but like I said, you know, we both had something happen, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's no way to change the past, so all you can do is move forward. I think the saving grace with when we got back together was the fact that we knew and had that failure.
Right.
Because we were both able to talk about it. There were nights where we would talk and argue and fight, and I would yell and scream and bawl my eyes out. But you'd always sit there with me and let me get it out. We only had one time that something happened this go around that you wanted to react before you got any type of story. It was basically, you threw my phone at me, pack your shit and get the fuck out.
Yeah, that was on some location type shit.
Right.
Be watching them. Be careful with the locations, people, because they'll get you caught up, or they'll make an ass out of you for assuming.
Exactly, and that's what you did. You made an ass out of yourself because you forgot that day we were together 24/7, and I had to prove you wrong after I got you calmed the fuck down.
Right.
And then after that, I'm not gonna say it's been easy. Because, you know, I'm an emotional person. I can sit here and start crying now just because you look at me weird. But we have worked it out. We make it work.
Right. And I think we became best friends over that time. Because, like I'm going to say this to everybody. If you get a chance and you get a Nintendo Switch, Mario Party's fun. But if you love somebody, you got to play that Fire Emblem Warrior.
Yeah.
Because we played it, and I don't even think you really liked it that much.
I did enjoy it. That's my favorite one so far that we've played.
Right.
But yeah, it was relearning each other and remembering the heartache that we went through and how to fix it.
Right.
I'm not saying that every person should go back to their ex because it didn't work out and you're going to be fine. Because we all know that that's not going to happen.
Half the time that shit don't work.
Right.
Most of the time it don't.
Right, but for us it worked.
Right. And I think, like, you know, we don't give any type of relationship advice, but I say this: clear and concise communication. I'm not going to let frustration build up in this relationship. If you piss me off or make me mad, I might hold on to it for a little bit for the sake of you sometimes, but I'm going to let you know what's going on.
See, I disagree there. You like to build it up. You like to bottle it up and not talk about it. I like to talk about it and argue about it and fight about it. You would rather just give me the silent treatment.
I don't agree.
All right. Okay.
But as for rating on this relationship, is this one that you would?
I mean, obviously, it's my top relationship since we're still together.
I mean, but
and you're about to fix it.
Right. She's showing her hand in my face like some John Cena you can't see me type stuff. But yeah, and the reason that I did this episode for the review is this. It's always good to be personable with people. And if they didn't ever hear the story about us or from us, we would just be people that review stuff and you wouldn't know nothing about us because we give our heart and our emotions in this.
Right. But, and this is going to be a long one, so
yeah.
we hope you were able to, stick in with us so far.
Right. So I'm JR.
And I'm Stacey.
And this is Sparrows Under Review.